Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Busey Bank Field at Joliet Memorial Stadium for this evening's Chicagoland Collegiate Athletic Conference matchup between the Saints of Holy Cross College and your Fighting Saints. At this time, let's introduce this evening's starting lineups. First, for the visiting Saints of Holy Cross College. In goal, number 1, Taylor Primack. Number 5, Haley Sanders. Number 7, Anna Lemieux. Number 8, Selena Cruz. Number 10, Nicole Cook. Number 17, Cassidy Puthoff. Number 18, Ashlyn Craig. Number 19, Lauren Cernak. Number 20, Abby Craig. Number 21, Yamalat Mateo. And number 23, Olivia Shaw. Holy Cross is coached by Mr. Omar Gallo. And now, the starting lineup for your Fighting Saints. In goal, number 1, Crystal Rodriguez. Number 2, Michelle Pelayo. Number 5, Vivian Ventura. Number 6, Abby Janacek. Number 9, Azuri Sanchez. Number 10, Alexis Marquez. Number 14, Mia O'Connor. Number 16, Allison Shaw. Number 20, Natalie Salgado. Number 21, Emily Galvin. And number 23, Andrea Aguirre. Fighting Saints are coached by Mr. Al Pilar. Ladies and gentlemen, at this time we ask you please rise. Gentlemen, kindly remove your cap as we honor America with the playing of our national anthem.
Good evening from Joliet, Illinois, and welcome to Busey Bank Field and Joliet Memorial Stadium, where the University of St. Francis Fighting Saints Soccer Club is getting set to take on the Saints of Holy Cross College from out in Indiana. Terry Bonadonna with you for the play-by-play of today's matchup. St. Francis tries to continue their strong run and extend their winning streak to a season-high 4 games. They come in with an overall mark of 6 wins and 1 loss. They are 2-0 so far in conference play, and in fact have not yet allowed a conference goal. They've won their first 2 games against Indiana South Bend and Indiana Northwest by a combined 8-0 count. Holy Cross, who takes the field on the right side of the screen, comes in with an overall record of 2-2-4. They are 1-2 in conference. They're coming off of a shutout victory themselves as well. They defeated Governors State 2-0 the last time they took the field. We're ready to start here. St. Francis will get the opening kick. The Fighting Saints are in white. The regular old non-Fighting Saints stand on the right side of your screen right now. They are in black, going from right to left. And for the first half of today's matchup, they're shooting into the north goal. Fighting Saints, of course, shooting into the south goal, but an early chance here for Holy Cross goes nowhere. Nicole Cook took the ball away from Abby Janacek. Janacek got it right back from Cook. No shot for Holy Cross, and the Saints are able to knock it out of bounds. So an early crisis averted, but the ball still in the attacking zone right now for Holy Cross as they get set for a throw-in. Get to the starters in just a moment. Let's take a look at this throw first. Haley Sanders, the junior midfielder from Willimac, Indiana, tosses it into the box. Controlled for the moment by Abby Craig and knocked out of bounds again. Another throw-in coming up for Holy Cross, this one a few yards down the field. Holy Cross has taken possession over the first minute of today's contest. Nicole Cook tried to get a shot off early on. Janacek stopped her. So now Holy Cross trying to work it in off the throw. Tipped towards the edge of the box. Knocked in front of the net. Crystal Rodriguez watches that one drift right past her and all the way to the near side of the field, across the field for Holy Cross, sent out of bounds. This time the throw goes to St. Francis, backed up into their own corner. Tossed in by Emily Galvin and knocked right back out of bounds by the Fighting Saints. Janacek deflected it out. Another throw-in coming up here for Holy Cross. Not yet 2 minutes in. We've had 4 throw-ins, 2 from either side of the field just in the last minute. Not a lot of momentum going in either direction here as Haley Sanders fires it in front of the net. Headed high into the air towards the crossbar. It hits off the top of the crossbar and bounces over. A break for St. Francis as that throw got into a very dangerous area. I believe that was Cassidy Putoff who got her head on the ball and knocked it towards the net, but just over the crossbar. Crystal Rodriguez reached up for it, just over her outstretched hand, and then of course just over the top of the net as well. Here comes Nicole Cook, poked away from her. Galvin controls it on the defensive end. Galvin sends it ahead, and it deflects off the hand of Allison Shar. So a handball against the Fighting Saints. St. Francis just cannot get the ball out of harm's way here. For the first 2.5 minutes, just about every touch has occurred on the St. Francis side of the field. Free kick now for Ashlyn Craig. Craig on the near side of the field, almost 50 yards out of the net, or almost 40 yards, I should say. Craig approaches, sends it into the box. To the back post, deflected into the air. Cleared outside the box, still in Holy Cross's possession though. This is Selena Cruz pushing it towards the goalkeeper. Crystal Rodriguez scoops it up on a couple of hops. She's ready to play this one long and finally push it across midfield. We'll see if it's able to stay there for any length of time. Headed towards Shar. Over her, Mia Okana pulls it back in, taps it to the defense. Let's look at the starters for both teams. For St. Francis, a lot of young talent as usual. Freshman Ishel Palayo is out there with Vivian Ventura and Abby Janacek, all freshmen. Alexis Mariquin, the junior, gets the start in the midfield. Mia Okana up there with her. Allison Shar is the forward. Natalie Salgado, Emily Galvin, Andrea Aguirre make up the rest of the starting lineup for the Fighting Saints. Al Pilar, in his 3rd season as head coach, has called on the freshman Crystal Rodriguez in net once again today. That's been the standard. Crystal Rodriguez has started every game in goal and, in fact, has not missed a single minute yet this year. She's allowed 8 total goals and made 37 saves, an excellent .822 save percentage. She averages 1.14 goals allowed per game, a number that has decreased as the season has gone on. Little run here for Holy Cross. Abby Craig can't make anything happen. Deflected back towards the side. Nicole Cook now in possession of it. Down into the far corner. There's the cross. Headed towards the net, but out of bounds by Lauren Cernak. Starters for Holy Cross: Haley Sanders, Hannah Lemieux, Selena Cruz, Nicole Cook, Cassidy Putoff, Ashlyn Craig and her twin sister Abby Craig with Lauren Cernak, Yamalit Mateo, and Olivia Shaw. Lineup for fifth-year head coach Omar Gallo. His goalkeeper is sophomore Taylor Primack, who's been very good. She's coming off of a shutout, her second of the season. And overall this year, Primack has saved 47 of the 58 shots that have come her way. An .810 save percentage for Primack. 2 wins, 2 losses, 4 draws, all credited to her. She has not been removed yet this year. She's played every minute. Here's the throw in front of the net once again, near post, and picked up on a high hop by Crystal Rodriguez. Rodriguez came up with her first collegiate shutout 1 week ago tomorrow. Followed that up with her second last week. St. Francis on the defensive end. This is Shar stepping in front of Okana, passing back to Emily Galvin. Down in front of the net, Holy Cross has not put too many serious attacks towards the St. Francis defense so far, but they've been in possession, trying to get it going here. This is Cook turning and passing to the outside, Haley Sanders. Sanders dribbles back into the middle of the field, and St. Francis forces her away from the net. So again, Holy Cross not able to turn their shoulders towards the net. There's Sanders taking a shot, but well wide and out of bounds to the right of the net. Goal kick coming up for the Fighting Saints. Just about 7 minutes into the action here. No score yet between these two old conference rivals. St. Francis sitting atop the CCAC at the start of play today. They're 2-0 to start the year, and you have to consider they did get a little bit of a generous start to the conference season schedule-wise. Holy Cross makes another run. There's a ball wide to the left side. Sanders tries to chase it down and out of bounds. I'm not sure if she was looking for the pass or the shot there, but either way, couldn't connect. I think she was trying to find Sanders on the far end of the net. Sanders could not track it down before going out for another goal kick. St. Francis started the year with Indiana South Bend and Indiana Northwest. Those two teams so far this year have gone a combined 0-6 in conference games. So while St. Francis is certainly happy with their 2-0 start, they also know they've got a lot of work to do to make sure they can stay at or near the top of the conference. Granted, part of the reason that those two Indiana schools are 0-6 is because they both played the Fighting Saints, so St. Francis can take heart in that as well. But those two teams so far have been outscored in conference play by a combined 31-2. 8-0 of that came against the Fighting Saints, who finished the conference season, or the non-conference season, I should say, with a 4-1 record. Sent forward by Yamalit Mateo towards the back line. Crystal Rodriguez tracks it down out of bounds. It's a goal kick. Rodriguez picked up her first conference honor earlier this week. She was named the conference's Defensive Player of the Week for coming up with back-to-back shutouts in those 2 wins against Indiana South Bend and Indiana Northwest. She's been heavily involved early on today. This Holy Cross has had possession for, it feels like, over 90% of the action. That's probably an exaggeration, but that's how it has seemed early on. This is one of the longest sojourns into Holy Cross territory that the Fighting Saints have had today as Ashlyn Craig clears it. Abby Craig trying to get it down across midfield, can't do it, so the Fighting Saints remain on the attack. It's Allison Shar passing off to the left side. Now a little something developing for the Fighting Saints. That one from Mariquin deflected out of bounds by, I believe that was Cruz who knocked it away. Out the sideline for a Fighting Saints throw-in. Lobbed into the box and cleared by the Saints of Holy Cross. Holy Cross got off to a very middling start to this season. They tied in all of their first 3 games. Since then, they've been a little bit up and down. They have feasted on weaker competition. They've not really been able to stand up to higher competition, but that's typically the way it goes. You're naturally going to play better against the teams that aren't as good. Holy Cross has taken care of business when they've needed to. There's a shot from way out, and it sails over the net. Out of bounds, we'll have a goal kick here for Holy Cross. Long range attempt there from Pelayo. And a foul called here on Pelayo. She knocks the freshman midfielder Abby Craig to the ground. Free kick for Holy Cross, and that's Ashlyn Craig, Abby's sister, who rolls it into the midfield circle. Mateo passes to her right. This is Hannah Lemieux. Lemieux tries to go across field to the far sideline and airmails everybody out of bounds. Throw-in coming up for the Fighting Saints. Darkness has set in here in Joliet. Lights are on and in full effect. Sunset about a half hour ago. Beautiful sunset here in Joliet today. The lighting was very interesting. You had the sunset in one direction, storm clouds rolling in from the other. And those storm clouds are in the vicinity right now, but it's not raining. But that's part of the reason that it's a little bit prematurely dark today. The sun's already set, but usually not quite this dark so early. Battle for the ball at midfield. And possession is won by the Fighting Saints thanks to a foul called against Holy Cross. St. Francis is riding a 3-game winning streak. They've outscored their opponents 10-1 during that stretch. O'Connor trying to put a goal in here in front of the net, and Allison Shar was not able to step in and poke it through. Nice play by Mia O'Connor. Taylor Primack was forced out of the net to try to challenge O'Connor, and O'Connor was able to flick it off to her left right in front of the net, but nobody there wearing white to put it in. Allison Shar came in just a step late for it. Ventura down to Shar, and Allison Shar is able to keep it in bounds. The attack continues for St. Francis, but only briefly. Shar kept it in initially, then she dribbled it out of bounds anyway along that back line, so it's a goal kick for Holy Cross. St. Francis is starting to apply a little bit of pressure. 32 and a half minutes to play in the first half. For the first 10 minutes, it was all Holy Cross. Not so much anymore as the two teams remain tied on the scoreboard. And now possession and attack time are evening up as well. Sanders battles Galvin for that ball, and it's won by Galvin and the Fighting Saints. Here comes Aguirre. Passing off to the left, sent into the box, looking for Shar off of the foot and towards the backside. O'Connor crosses it in front of the net. Cleared by Holy Cross. Good defense by the Saints there of Holy Cross. Looked like the Fighting Saints of St. Francis had a couple of opportunities, but they were all stifled by this defense. Sanchez rolls it to the outside. This is Shar to the corner of the box. Knocked off the foot of Vivian Ventura. Still in bounds. There's the cross to the back post. Mariquin chases it down as that one went over her head initially. Holy Cross looking to clear it, and it looks like they've done so, at least for the time being. Out of bounds on the far end, so it is a St. Francis throw-in. Gives everybody a quick breather there as the ball is retrieved and sent back out of bounds. Now Fighting Saints toss it in. Up to the top. Pass to the right side. Emily Galvin steps up defensively. Sanders swoops in from behind and takes it away. Good defense by Haley Sanders. As the ball goes out of bounds off of the Fighting Saints. Holy Cross throw in. It's become a very competitive first half after it was all Holy Cross early. Two sides going back and forth. Fighting Saints haven't been able to get any really good shots off to make Primac work, but they've certainly put a scare into Holy Cross a few times by getting some good-looking shots, or at least freeing themselves for an opening in just the right spot on the field. Along the sideline, Galvin takes it away from Mateo, and St. Francis clears. There's a shot. Rodriguez makes a diving effort for it, but it's out of bounds to the right of the net. It's a goal kick for the Fighting Saints. Rodriguez did not touch it as it went by. Full extension, but she needn't have worried. Another wide shot from Holy Cross. The shutout remains intact, and the shutout streak remains intact for Rodriguez. Has not allowed a goal in her last 2.5 games. Out of bounds, Salgado watches it roll. St. Francis gets the throw in here with under a half hour to play in the first half of action. Game 3 of the conference season for St. Francis, second one that they have played here at home. And they had an impressive home conference debut over the weekend with a 3-0 win over Indiana South Bend. It's a game they led pretty much the whole way, but it was tight, 1-0 until the final minutes. And then they added 2 goals very late in order to put the game away. Tossed in along the sideline, and here come the Fighting Saints. Allison Shar out of the fray with it. She's being chased down by 2 Holy Cross defenders. And one of those Holy Cross defenders picks the ball up after Shar dribbled it out of bounds. Shar was, I think, a little too worried about those 2 defenders behind her. She tried to pick up the speed, and in the process rolled that ball too far out in front of her. So that stops a once promising run for the Fighting Saints, but they have the ball back in their possession as they try to pick up the first lead of the game. Right at midfield, the ball sent in with the right foot towards Okana, but it bounces twice into the goalkeeper's hands. No chance for Okana to get one off. Left-footed kick down the near sideline. Sent right back the other way. Throw in for the team in black here. Looks like Haley Sanders will be the one to take it. Along the sideline and off the chest of Craig, but Craig is unable to control it. So here come the Saints. It's Palaio rolling it backwards. Janacek reverses field. Natalie Salgado on the other side. Fight for possession just across midfield. Holy Cross not ceding an inch. And for good cause, they end up taking the ball away. There's Galvin clearing it for the Fighting Saints across midfield. Brought back in by Craig. That's Ashlyn Craig from Arvada, Colorado. Mateo taps it once towards the center of the field. Salgado pokes it away. Little excitement brewing for just a split second for the Holy Cross faithful in the crowd today. Crystal Rodriguez is able to make another stop. Rodriguez hasn't had to work exceptionally hard for her last 2 shutouts. She's made a few saves in each of them. but by and large her defense deserves a lot of the credit for putting back-to-back zeros on the board. Fighting Saints are offsides here. Free kick coming up for Holy Cross. Today a little bit more pressure early on from the opposition, whether she's been making saves or not. Crystal Rodriguez has been very much involved and helping to prevent Holy Cross from getting on the board. Rest of the team positioned downfield as the free kick is away. Brought in by Janacek. Janacek trying to control it to herself. She passes back to Rodriguez, and Rodriguez reverses field. Here's Galvin. Galvin is pressured by Haley Sanders, so much so Galvin has no choice but to kick it out of bounds for a throw-in. Sanders steps in from that blue track, fires it in front of the net, headed away by the Saints. Sanders tries again, and this time through the football goal posts. So 3 points on the football field for her, still none on the soccer field. We remain scoreless as that one goes out of bounds. Lauren Cernak is the leading scorer this year for Holy Cross. She's been quiet so far today. Tied with Nicole Cook for the team lead with 3 goals, but Cernak also has 5 assists. Good for 11 points so far this season. She has scarcely had her name called today. Here's Cook. Rolled to the outside, cleared by St. Francis, and out of bounds on Holy Cross. Foul called on Holy Cross, so we will get a free kick here. O'Connor down the right sideline. First one to touch it is wearing black. Pelayo comes in off of her head, trying to keep possession alive for the Fighting Saints. Pelayo racing from side to side on this field. Man down for Holy Cross. Play continues. Holy Cross works their way into the box. Salgado steps in, deflects it for an instant, not able to knock it away, but Crystal Rodriguez will be able to on the goal kick as Abby Craig sends it out of bounds. Substitution for St. Francis as Azuri Sanchez comes out. Litzy Mendez checks in, first action of the year for the senior Mendez, who's been an important member of this team for the last few years. She's had to miss the first 7 this season, but back out there ready to go for the final potentially 23 minutes of this first half. Here's a free kick for Holy Cross. Scoreless ties so far. Holy Cross has clearly outplayed St. Francis overall, but with nothing to show for it. That can change right here. The whistle signaled for the go-ahead. Kick comes in, and the kick goes out. Too strong on that one. Well out of bounds. We have passed the halfway point of our first half. No score between St. Francis and Holy Cross. Holy Cross has been the better team so far. They've had a lot more chances than St. Francis has. The Fighting Saints have had a few good ones. Haven't been able to take advantage. Knocked away and out of bounds. Sanders set to toss it in, works her way down the sideline. Knocked away by the Fighting Saints and cleared. Shar out of bounds, but right out of bounds. Fighting Saints just cannot hold on to a possession right now. They've had a few of them, and each time that they've been able to complete a few passes, they've been able to make a run towards the net, but Hasn't happened often in the first half. Holy Cross seems to have found the secret towards knocking out this St. Francis team, at least through 25 minutes or so. They've drawn up the blueprint. Don't let them take shots. Foul call on Holy Cross here. Blueprint for any team. Don't let them take shots. Hard to score without them. St. Francis so far in the though has just not had possession. They've got it right now as Salgado's pass is deflected. Now they've lost possession again. To the outside. A run here on the far side of the field. Into the box, right side, shot deflected by Rodriguez, stays in bounds, and Rodriguez grabs it off the rebound. Nice stop by the freshman goalkeeper at a big moment here. Holy Cross threatened to take their first lead of the game courtesy of Lauren Cernak. Cernak, their leading scorer and their leading point getter this season. She's been very quiet, but able to get going with that last run to the post, and then her shot, which came up just short. Somebody you don't want to allow to get into rhythm at all. I'm sure St. Francis will continue to try to be physical with her and work her out of the game. Bounces across midfield. Craig passes backwards. Tough play for Cassidy Putoff to reach. That pass was a little bit too far out in front of her, but no problem for Holy Cross. They just put Taylor Primack up a little bit in order for her to make the stop. And Primack went back to the net and forced a shot wide. Galvin off her chest. Head towards the middle of the field, headed away. Cross field header, drifts wide and dribbles out of bounds. Nice setup for the Fighting Saints, perhaps their best scoring chance of the night. The header ends up going wide to the right side though by just a few feet. Still nothing with under 18.5 minutes to play in the first half. Whistle blows. They're going to do this again, but I think we're going to get a substitute for Holy Cross first. Holy Cross has outscored their opponents this year 13-11. Largely the product of just a couple of blowout wins against inferior competition. They do have 4 ties this year. One of them 0-0, which added to the profile of Taylor Primack. Free kick here for Holy Cross. Kick will be taken by Cassidy Putoff. And her kick is quickly intercepted. Susie Diaz made the stop. Holy Cross throws it back in. Both of these teams came up with shutout victories over the weekend. Both teams are shutting out their opponent today as well. Run from St. Francis. O'Connor sends it ahead. The pass is completed. Off balance. They need to start it over here. Pelayo's pass deflected, stolen, and bounced away. Back to the defense once again for the Fighting Saints. Trying to control possession from the backside. Not allow Holy Cross to make a run. Right in the middle of the field, taken by Holy Cross. Slowing things down, it's passed off to the left, and Haley Sanders. Sanders tracked down from behind. Her kick is deflected out by Andrea Aguirre. Lobbed into the box and out of bounds all the way. Emily Galvin just shadowed that ball, made sure that no Saint from Holy Cross was able to get to it. And she let it roll out for a goal kick. A lot of these today because both teams have put some pressure on their opposition, but they've been a little bit wild on their shooting techniques. Off the first touch, it is controlled by Okana, who dribbles it into the middle of the field. Passed back on defense, and again to Crystal Rodriguez, the goalkeeper for Holy Cross. Rodriguez stops it and sends it away. 15 minutes to play. We're still in the first half here. We've got no score. Abby Padilla pokes that ball into the air. It stays in bounds right around the midfield circle. Here come the Fighting Saints, far side of the field, taken away. Good defense from Holy Cross. Good defense, at least initially it looked that way, from the St. Francis forwards, but that tackle is called a foul. So Holy Cross ends up getting a free kick instead of giving St. Francis the ball. Still no score. September 10th, a 2-1 win against Northwestern Ohio. That was the last time that anybody scored against this St. Francis defense. So it's been almost 2 weeks. Foul called on Allison Shar. She went up high with the kick, and she got the defender, I think, with her knee. And that'll stop the clock as they tend to the injured player. Just under 14 minutes to go in this first half, and we've got our first injury of the day. It's a very hot and humid night. Rain has been threatening. We had some dark clouds overhead at the start of the game. They remained around at least until the sunset, and then after that, it's hard to keep track anymore. But we have not seen any rain yet tonight, so that's certainly good news. We hope that it stays that way here in Joliet. I know it's been raining in other places in the Chicagoland area. So far, so good here. The first injury of the night has nothing to do with the weather conditions. It's not raining, so there's no slip. It's not the stifling hot humidity, which is making things very uncomfortable. That was just a knee to a certain part of the body that it's not designed to take knees, whether that was her chest or her stomach or her hip. I didn't see exactly where it got her. As Allison Shar streaked by, Shar was called for the foul. Play resumes as the ball is sent down towards the backside, and Janacek watches it go out of bounds. Substitution for Holy Cross here. Annabella Alfreda is coming in. Haley Sanders gets a rest. Allison Shar tries to take possession for St. Francis, and after a few missed touches, she almost did. Knocked off of her foot by Alfreda, but cleared by the Saints anyway. Along the near sideline, Cassidy Putoff is able to knock the ball away. Saints get it back at midfield, tipped across to the defense. This is Galvin on the near sideline. Nice move by Galvin to get around Alfreda. Ahead for Mendez, and Mendez's ball to Pelayo ends up getting knocked back in the other direction. High into the air and out of bounds. Here's Galvin. Rolled up to the midfield. Knocked away from Aguirre. Saints get it back. Fighting Saints, that is. Janacek tries to launch it downfield. Knocked loose by Lemieux. Nice move by Allison Shar to keep it alive for the Saints. Shar on the run. Taps it ahead, and it looked like from behind Ashley McDonald got a piece of that ball. Deflected it off course. Nice work by McDonald. A little bit embarrassed, I think, of falling for Shar's move and getting knocked almost to her knees. She quickly recovered, racing down the field in order to make the stop. Speaking of making stops, that cross is blocked by Cassidy Putoff. Good defense from Putoff, but a good scenario now for the Fighting Saints as it does set up a corner kick for them. Another chance for St. Francis to break the scoreless tie here. Ball is set for the corner kick. Back post, flicked in front of the net. Not enough momentum to push into the net. Another chance for St. Francis, again in front of the net, and again deflected wide to the right side, out of bounds this time. And Holy Cross will have to work against another corner kick here. Second corner kick in a row for the Fighting Saints. First one looked pretty good, nearly worked out. See if they can work the kinks out this time. Again to the back post. Shoots past everybody. Winds up back outside the box as the space clears a little bit. But St. Francis is still in position to get another shot off. They weren't able to do so, not at least on that possession. They get it back, but on the defensive side. Bouncing a couple of times. Pelayo able to knock it loose. Here comes St. Francis. It's Allison Shar. Shar taken all the way to the sideline. Dribbles almost all the way out of bounds. Somehow she saved it from going out, but gave it right up to the defender. Tossed in by Padilla. Abby Padilla is worked off the ball by Aguirre. Another chance for the Fighting Saints here. Ventura passes to her left. Back in the middle of the pitch. Nice move by Mendez. Mendez rolls it to the right side. Pelayo is there. Pelayo's got a defender right in front of her. Takes the shot anyway. And a nice save made by Taylor Primack. Primack's doing well enough so far today. Hasn't faced too many tough shots. Anytime a goalkeeper, though, has got a shutout going, it's been a good day, regardless of anything else. Foul called here against Holy Cross. Rolled into the box. Galvin steps in the way and knocks it to the sideline out of bounds. Throw in for Holy Cross here. No score with the ball on the far side of the field. Holy Cross taking its time before tossing the ball back into play. Bounced in once. Now a shot from way outside. Not even close, well out of bounds. Haley Bartlaga is in for St. Francis to play the final 8 minutes of the first half. Bartlaga has been a starter at times over her career here at St. Francis. Today she's coming off the bench, getting some decent first half minutes. She replaced Vivian Ventura in the lineup. Now the goal kick from Crystal Rodriguez with everybody set. Received by Litzy Mendez. Can she keep it in bounds? She is not able to. Holy Cross ball, and I think we'll get a free kick from Holy Cross here. A little bit of a shoulder shiver from Litzy Mendez. So they called the foul on Mendez, creating this free kick opportunity. 40 yards out of the net. Far right side this time. Before Cassidy put off, take the shot, she directs her teammates and then puts it towards the net. But a little bit high and out of the reach of Crystal Rodriguez. Rodriguez watches it go out of bounds for the goal kick. Under 7 minutes to play in the first half. So we're getting late here, still scoreless. And after a very impressive start from Holy Cross, things have been pretty even. Scoring chances, possession have been right near each other. Another opportunity here, though, for Holy Cross. That ball is centered and cleared by the Fighting Saints. Back to Lemieux. She tries to start the attack all over again. Passing to the right side, deflected away by St. Francis. And pulled in again by Holy Cross, but only briefly. Saints take it away, downfield, a little bit of a trip. And no chance for Mia Okana to turn it into an attack. Knocked out of bounds right at midfield by St. Francis. Holy Cross will get the throw in, and they'll slow things down after the pace had picked up. Kind of frenetic over the last minute or two. A lot of excitement, but Holy Cross is keeping it down a little bit. Very hot night, very humid. These players are losing a lot of fluids out there, so you want them to move as quickly as is comfortable to them, and certainly they're taking that into account as well. Don't wear yourselves out. There's no sun out, so that's a silver lining on that 1 point. Stepping up is Primac to scoop up that loose ball. Primac will punt it away with no score and just over 5 minutes to play in the first half. Primac's punt goes high down the near sideline. Bounces once, twice, and Galvin taps it back defensively. Janacek rolls it out to her goalkeeper. Rodriguez tried to clear it, but that pass is intercepted by Abby Craig. Craig passes to the near sideline. Abby Padilla puts it towards the net. Well short, well wide. Nowhere near scoring a goal right there from Padilla. Another free kick coming up is for St. Francis. A goal kick after Rodriguez let that last shot drift out of bounds. There's a whistle. Looks like a foul against St. Francis. Free kick for Holy Cross here. Probably a little bit too far out to try to put this one on net. We've seen a few of them from about 40 yards out. Typically they have not become shots. Sent to the backside, headed towards the net and over the net. Rodriguez didn't even jump that time. She had her hand lifted up just in case, but she was just watching it sail overhead. And again, I say we remain scoreless. Lots of chances for Holy Cross tonight, but with nothing to show for them. That's been probably the biggest story of this game so far. There's Allison Shar working her way to the near side and passing it back. Chip downfield. Haley Bartlaga is down there, but the ball is rolled back from the defense to the goalkeeper Primac. Primac's punt is intercepted by St. Francis, so perhaps another threat before halftime. Knocked away by Abby Padilla. Knocked off of St. Francis, so Padilla gets the throw in. Allison Shar jumps in front of a pass and steals it. Here come the Fighting Saints. It's Litzy Mendez. Mendez passes off to the left side. From the corner, tough to get a grasp on things and knocked away by Holy Cross, but a foul is called. Where did that foul get committed? I think it was just outside the penalty area. So no penalty kick here for St. Francis. A yellow card given. Just barely outside the box on the far side. Under 2 minutes to play in the half. Best chance for St. Francis so far. They look to take a 1-0 lead. Kick is deflected. Right back into the middle of the field. The Fighting Saints get a chance to try again. They spread the defense out by backing it up into the box. Pelayo could not make the play. She was offside. So Mendez comes in at a difficult angle. She sends it in front of the net. And an easy save made by Primac. Primac fell right on top of that one. Mendez really not at an angle where she could have put one in. Michelle Pelayo was the first one in there when the ball was sent into the box, but she was offsides and she knew it, so she couldn't touch the ball. She had to back up instead.
1 minute to play in the period.
By the time Mendez had gotten in there, just couldn't get a clean shot off. Final minute of play in the half, and it looks as though we're going to be scoreless at the break here. Two hard-fighting defensive teams, both coming off of shutout victories. And just about halfway to the shutout half here. Half a minute away. Roll over to the near side. Galvin on defense. Passes it back. That bounces across midfield. Sent towards the St. Francis defense. Galvin with 10 seconds left. Passes it back. Kicked ahead. And the Saints will try to keep it in bounds and let the first half clock run out. It is halftime. And at halftime, we've got no score. Tough, hard-fought 45 minutes between these two teams as neither team jumps on the board. We'll take a 15-minute break for halftime, but back right after that with the final 45 minutes of today's matchup. St. Francis trying to remain unbeaten in conference. Holy Cross is looking for their second straight win. We'll find out which team gets its wish a little bit later on this evening. Halftime here in Joliet. We're scoreless. Halftime here in Joliet, no score between the Saints of St. Francis and the Saints of Holy Cross. The two teams have flipped sides, ready to begin half number 2. St. Francis in white now going from right to left and shooting into the north goal, and Holy Cross from left to right shooting into the south goal. Holy Cross will get the first kick as we start the second half off here. I'll get you some first half stats in just a moment. Holy Cross certainly the aggressors early in this game. Things evened out as the half went on. A very evenly matched last half hour or so, but the first 10-15 minutes really were controlled by the visiting side. They ended up taking 15 shots in the first half compared to 8 for St. Francis. They weren't necessarily all high quality shots. Both teams had the same number that were on target. 3 saves for each goalie, 3 shots on goal for each team. Crystal Rodriguez and Taylor Primack, both coming off of shutouts in their most recent games. And both working on shutouts again today through the first half of play. Rodriguez has a 2-game shutout streak going, so it's really become closer to a 3-match shutout streak now, including the end of the game against Northwestern Ohio a couple of weeks ago, and then leading into the first half today. Free kick coming up here for the Fighting Saints as they'll get their first touch of the second half following the throw in from Holy Cross. Pushed across midfield, but taken by the Holy Cross defense. Salgado knocks it out. Unable to get a grip on that one off her first touch on the right foot. Got away from her a little bit. Sets up the throw in for Holy Cross. It'll be tossed in by Selena Cruz. Salgado takes it away. And here come the Fighting Saints. Litzy Mendez working her way down the field. Good to see Mendez back in the lineup today. Key piece for St. Francis on last year's team. A senior from Joliet West High School. Has not been able to play for most of this year so far, but came in about 15 minutes in, and she's been on the field ever since. Very aggressive, quick moving across the middle of the field for the Fighting Saints. No float to the first 2 minutes of this second half. Neither side has been able to get any kind of attack going. It's along the far sideline. Pushed the other way. It bounces down into the box, and Primack races up to grab that ball. Cassidy Puthoff was in position to play it, and then it bounced right over her head. High hop on this artificial turf. Primack was there to back her up, though. 9 fouls called in the first half against St. Francis, just 4 against Holy Cross. Andrea Aguirre was the leader for St. Francis with 3 shots, 4 of them for Lauren Cernak of Holy Cross. But again, not a lot of high quality shots from either team. Both teams put 3 on goal. We've not seen any yet here in the second half as Aguirre working very closely against Olivia Shaw. Shaw forces the pass from Aguirre off to the right side. But St. Francis keeps the possession alive across midfield. Over to Vivian Ventura. Ventura's got a little open space. She works her way from right to left, pushing forward. Off to Alexis Mariquin. Mariquin puts it in front of the net. Primack comes, knocks it away on one half, and now falls on top of it. That bounced in. Primack a little caught in between. It looked like she wanted to grab that ball off the first hop. She slid in and just kind of deflected it away instead. And that deflection led to a near opportunity for a rebound, but before any St. Francis attackers could get there, Primack recovered and dove right on top of it. So the game remains scoreless. A little bit of a scare for Holy Cross, but they've still got their shutout going. Very good defensive game so far. Deflection by the Holy Cross offense nearly led to a chance for them. Cook trying to chase that ball down, but Janacek's able to clear it for the moment. Another run here for Lemieux. Lemieux, though, called for the foul. She tripped up Mendez. And so it looked for a moment like the freshman out of Florida, Hannah Lemieux, was going to get an open run towards the net. Instead, she heads back on defense after the foul is called, and a free kick is delivered to St. Francis. Cernak immediately intercepts the free kick, but deflects it right back to Natalie Salgado. Here come the Fighting Saints. Mariquin rolls it into the midfield circle. Aguirre pressured from behind by Cook, able to get rid of it. Mendez rolls it to her right, far side of the field. Sent off to Shar. Allison Shar coming off of a big offensive week, looking for the cross there, didn't have it. Shar scored 2 goals last week against Indiana South Bend. First brace of the season for any Fighting Saint as Primack scoops that ball up in the box. St. Francis, perfect in conference so far, 2.5 games in. They have not allowed a goal yet. This is their second straight home match. After this one, they'll play the next pair on the road. Battle for possession at midfield, won by Holy Cross initially. St. Francis able to take it away. Nice job by Cernak, sticking her leg out there and preventing that ball from getting through to a St. Francis attacker. Cook has it deflected by Janacek, sent far down the field by St. Francis, and that'll go well out of bounds. Goal kick coming up for Holy Cross. Nobody has to go very far because the ball was sent all the way from the defensive side for the Fighting Saints. So everyone was already kind of camped out at midfield anyway. Primack will send this one away on the goal kick. Both of these defenses were very good coming into today. Crystal Rodriguez was only averaging 1.1 goal allowed per match. Taylor Primack just a little bit worse than that at 1.4 goals allowed. So it's not surprising that it's been a defensive struggle today, although maybe a little bit more defensive than you'd expect, as Salgado from midfield puts that one in the arms of Primack. Primack boots it away again. St. Francis has been much more aggressive in the midfield so far in this second half than we saw them certainly early in the first half. Shar has it all the way in the corner, looking for the cross. Primack jumps in and catches it, and the whistle blows. There's a player down for Holy Cross. She's been down around the 20-yard line on the football field for the last few seconds of that play. Play went on because St. Francis had the ball, but as soon as Holy Cross was able to make the catch on that shot, the clock was stopped. The trainer is called over from the sideline. So slight delay in the action here. Just under 38 and a half minutes to play in the game. The rain has not come in, which is fortunate. There's some lightning in the distance as this game started and intermittently throughout the first half as well. It's been a while since I've seen any lightning. It never quite made it this far. Storm clouds hovered around the stadium as we started today, but again, it has not started raining. Still very hot, very humid. So some of the Holy Cross Saints are going to use this injury timeout here to get some water as well. We're not too deep into the second half, so St. Francis's players have not taken that same advantage, but there was no water break in the first half. No water breaks granted today because I guess we're not playing under the sun, but it is about 20 degrees above average for this time of year and still very hot even as it passes 8 o'clock at night. I didn't get a good visual yet of who that player is that's down for Holy Cross. Whoever it is, she's not down anymore. She is up, but being helped off the field and not putting any pressure at all on her left leg. So she's got coach on one end, trainer on the other, supporting all of her weight. So obviously a left leg injury. We'll get a number as she comes a little bit closer towards the sideline. Holy Cross will have to make a substitution here for this injured player. 38 minutes and some change remaining in the second half. Scoreless tie. St. Francis and Holy Cross doing battle here on a Tuesday evening in Joliet. Best scoring opportunities came very early, and they came from the visiting side. Holy Cross came out firing. First 10 minutes or so, St. Francis could not get the ball into their attacking third of the field at all. I don't know if they got it in there once in the first 10 minutes. Game was mostly played on the defensive end, a little bit in the midfield. They finally started to breach that wall of Holy Cross's defense in the latter stage, really the middle stages of the first half. They kept the pressure on for a little while, and the two teams played pretty evenly the rest of the first half, and have played pretty evenly to start the second half as well. Cassidy Putoff, senior midfielder from Cincinnati, Ohio, is the player who's hurt right now for Holy Cross. She's being helped off the field. You can see as she limps towards the sideline, she's putting a little bit of weight on that foot. It looked like before she was not putting anything on her left leg. But as she walked off, got nearer and nearer to the sideline, it looked like she certainly had a pronounced limp, but it looked like she was at least putting some weight on the leg that initially it didn't seem as though she was. We're back underway here